there, everybody. Welcome to another awesome episode of the Growthvisory. As always, I am your host, Jim Crumella, and with me this afternoon is an amazing guest. I am so excited to have him on. I was looking into his company and I just had my mind blown by what he's able to do. So I wanted to make sure to include him on the show, and he was so gracious to join us. Welcome, Robey NeJame with Smartleaf. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, Jim, and that's probably one of the best intros I've ever received. I've given speaking presentations and having that energy to come in. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I need to just, I shouldn't stand up with excitement, but I'm just below that threshold.
There you go. That's right. That's right. It's practice, and then it's just when you have a genuine excitement about who you get to talk to, it makes it so easy to have that energy up, right? And that's why I love doing this show. We're new, but hey, I love doing it because I get to meet so many cool people. I'm learning so much about different aspects that, like, I know a lot about financial services from all aspects of it, just from a lot of years in it, but it's always cool to talk to great people. So why don't you tell everybody what Smartleaf is, and I'll let you take it away from there.
Yeah. So a little bit of background. My name is Robey NeJame, as was introduced. I work in sales and business development at Smartleaf. I've been there for about 6 years, and I touch everything from sales to marketing to coordination with client services, product feedback, and every once in a while I will clean the kitchen. When it comes to what Smartleaf does, I've been here for 6 years. That should say something about the company itself, but we focus in wealth tech. We are a portfolio rebalancing solution. So if you're in wealth management, please come talk to me. If you're not, you don't need to worry about what we do because we probably won't interact with your lives directly. And what makes us different from everybody else is we lean into automation. And that's not to say we're trying to replace people, portfolio managers, or people trading portfolios. We're really trying to augment their experience. There's a bunch of meaningless to that person or boring things that add a lot of value. And the analogy that we usually give is it's like air conditioning. It is this wonder of the modern world we have not had for most of human existence that now is literally a flick of a switch. That's the same type of approach we take to our platform, where things should just be a flick of a switch. You shouldn't have to go through spreadsheets or spend hours on something that a computer can figure out in 3 seconds. Therefore, you can go spend the time on things like face-to-face conversations, which you really do make a huge difference in. So
Yeah,
we've been
especially
around for
dealing with high
25
net
years.
worth individuals, right? Where they want that high
Absolutely.
touch experience. They want to feel as important as they feel, right? Like they want to be shown and catered to. And instead of poring over their spreadsheets, they can be pouring over a cup of coffee or what have you, keeping that rapport going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and
Fantastic.
then to round it out, we've been around for 25 years. We joke that we've been in unintentional stealth mode for 20 of those 25 years. And so part of my job has been getting the name out there, showing who we are, what we do, what makes us different, and ideally growing the business.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So out of all of the stuff that you're doing, what would you say would be like your biggest moat that you have that protects you from competition? Or is like, if there's other solutions that are similar to yours out there, why should wealth managers, be like, no brainer, Smartleaf is what I got to go with? Like, what separates you from the pack?
Yeah, and this is both a benefit and a negative. The way I explain it is like trying to sell an airplane to someone who's only ever driven cars. There's that knowledge gap that you need to bridge with someone, but it's really in the architecture. You can have one full-time employee managing 100,000 portfolios, with each portfolio being treated uniquely, like it's the only relationship that you have. No other platform can do that because I think intelligently, when it was first established, they were meant to be on the desktop of each advisor. Your local mom and pop shop down the street, I don't need to manage 100,000 accounts. I need to manage 100. They've automated pieces of it, and it's like putting a robot on the factory procession floor. Yeah, you get a little bit more efficient, but what we did was we completely reinvented the factory floor to have robots be the basis of how we do things.
So you made the floor more efficient, not just a robot being on the same old assembly line.
Exactly.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. That's excellent. So do you really focus on like who benefits the most from your software? Is it just everyone that has a wealth management business, or do you prefer to work with smaller clients or larger clients, or does that not really come into effect for you guys?
I'll give the salesperson answer, then the Robey answer.
Okay.
Salesperson answer would be everybody. Everybody should be working with Smartleaf. This is a great solution. But the actual answer would be you need to be very focused as your business. You need to be centralized. You need to be okay with a process where you don't look at everything every single day because it's just not feasible. And then I know everyone wants to be working with high growth firms, but we really make our mark when a firm says, hey, I need to go out and be able to buy that firm across the street. And then within 2 weeks, every one of their clients feels like they're, when under my umbrella, is being given a better solution. What you
Gotcha.
don't want is buying that firm and then they suffer from the incorporation or the growth. You can get crushed under your own weight. It should be, wow, we can go out and make another one. This gives us more confidence. This helps us sell with those acquisitions more and then keeping that momentum.
Okay. Awesome. Fantastic. When you're looking at, growth curves, because sales biz dev, that's what we do, right? When you look 12 months out from where you guys are currently, what goals do you guys have set currently that gets you from point A to point B where you want to go?
Yeah, so this has actually changed a little bit this year compared to previous years. Previous years, we just said, here's what we've done in the past over the last couple of years. Here's the guaranteed minimum revenue from each relationship. How many relationships do we need to sign this year to hit that goal? Okay, how many need to make it into the sales pipeline? And then how many leads do we need to produce? And what we kept running into was we would fall short by a deal. And what was missing is those whales. So we were incorporating the massive deals that would happen maybe once a year, maybe they wouldn't. And the pattern was you either do or do not hit it based off of that whale. So we actually rolled it back and did 2 different projections. So we're saying, hey, we want more than $1 million in guaranteed revenue to come in new sales every year, which we think is reasonable. We're over 10 million in recurring revenue, but hey, let's keep growing at a rapid pace. We said we're going to have the benchmark goal of 500K in new revenue this year and the stretch goal of 1.2, so that we're factoring for that and we're not living or dying by one of those big relationships landing, because you sometimes only get one of those to come along,
Right.
based off of time.
Right. Okay. What's an average client worth then? So if you're saying I want between 5K of new revenue, what does that equate to, like number of clients wise that you guys are trying to hit?
Typically about a dozen. And when I say clients, it's like wealth management firms.
Yes.
So they may have a dozen advisors or more.
Each sign, right? Like each business itself.
Yep. So we could go down as small as 24K a year. We could go as large as at the beginning of last year, we had a 750K deal, which they could ratchet up to 2.2 million. So there's that opportunity that we incorporate, but typically the bread and butter is somewhere between 24 to 120K per deal.
Okay. That's fantastic. So, I mean, standard good goals, right? It's like steady growth curve. If you're saying you're at 10 and you want to add 1 per year, it's roughly 10% a year, right? 10% growth a year, which is steady Eddie. And you guys have been in business forever. So it's, that steady growth curve is really what you're looking for. Parabolic is probably a hard row to hoe, right? But it's all what strategies you deploy, right? So
Absolutely.
I guess a good segue is, how are you reaching those goals, or what strategies are you using from a biz dev side of things that are helping you grow?
Yeah, a lot of the getting out of stealth mode has been experimentation. So we're financially in a really great place as a company where we can start experimenting. Do we hire more marketing people? Do we outsource marketing? Do we outsource aspects of marketing? For me, I just sent out a customized sales campaign where I didn't write, a team member who has better handwriting than me, wrote custom letters and got a custom gift just to get that person's attention. And that would take me 10 times the time it would take to write maybe a generic email to blast to 1,000 people. But I've got a 25% open and response rate from the custom outreach versus a 2% to the blast email. So it's figuring out what is the really specific stuff we can do that shows the feel of the company. We're very client centric. We're very employee centric. We very much care about you and make sure you're making the right decision, as opposed to sell, 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 sell. We have 2 salespeople and the company is 45 in total employees, which is usually not the case for a tech company.
Right. Yeah. Usually your sales arm is much more robust on that because they're just hammering phones away and away and away. So I hear that for sure. Okay. Very cool. What challenges are you guys facing with that type of strategy where, we've got this, we have our limitations on the number of sales guys that we have. We're exploring new marketing channels because we're now out of stealth mode. We're trying to really kick this thing in a high gear, or a higher gear, I should say. So what kind of challenges are you guys running through right now that you've been able to overcome?
Yeah, the two for me has been not knowing what I don't know. I've been doing sales for 6 years, so I hope I know something at this point,
I'm sure
but
you do,
there's been a lot
for
of
sure.
self-teaching,
Yep.
which has its pros and cons. It's been really great because I don't fall into the trap of, hey, when can we set up the next meeting? Can I send you a contract? It isn't that pushiness that you sometimes see. But the flip side is I can probably be more aggressive without it harming me, my reputation, the company.
Right.
So it's finding that balance. So I feel like we lean more towards the positive of that and the self-teaching. And then focus. We have in the past really just tried to make every client work.
Yep.
And there's been this shift, especially in sales, where if you aren't the right fit on the first call in the first 15 minutes, I tell you we're not a right fit. And it's kind of funny because sometimes people will say, what do you mean I'm not the right
Yep.
fit?
They get
And I'm like,
offended.
no, no, no. I'm not trying to offend you. We just approach the world in different ways, and that's
Yep.
okay. And they're like, oh, okay, okay. But that focus on growth oriented firms that are
Yep.
centralized and our financial planning focus, they're like, we're going to care for this client's entire wealth as opposed to, hey, should we buy or sell Tesla right now? Both are
Got it.
good operating models.
Right.
They
Right.
both have their pros and cons. But focus has been a way that we've really succeeded in the last few years.
Okay. So I guess extension question on that then is, who is your ideal client then that you said? Now, it's share what you feel, right? Because this is a
Yeah.
publicly distributed channel, so it'll give away trade secrets. But if you're comfortable sharing, like, what does that ideal, so that you are focused, what does that ideal, perfect person look like for Smartleaf?
Yeah. So I will metaphorically get onto a soapbox here. And I hope I'm not shouting too loud about this, but there are some wealth management firms where they just want to be a mom and pop shop. That's totally fine. That's a lifestyle. You're not necessarily going to be the right fit. We can help you, but we may not be the maximum bang for your buck. If you're a firm that really wants to let everybody do their own thing, sure, go for it. But most importantly, there needs to be this drive to grow and to grow together, have a shared vision. And typically speaking, the most important is we are focused on maximizing the value for the end. That is what we do every single day. And we aren't going to be complacent. We have a client who, when we first signed them on in 2018, about 500 million in assets under management. They're now over 6 billion. And they still have one trader who's doing all of their trading on Smartleaf. We didn't generate that growth. We supported that growth. They could
Sure.
continue to throw people and portfolios onto the platform without them breaking or needing to hire a lot of people. But they had an almost fanatical focus to, here's the way we're going to do things. We know it's successful. And they said goodbye to advisors and to clients who didn't want to go with that approach.
Interesting.
That's hard. That's
Yeah.
really, really hard to say goodbye to clients and advisors. That it's like, hey, that's money coming in the door you're saying no to. And I feel like that has been, both for Smartleaf and Smartleaf's clients, a really hard hurdle to get over. But when you get that focus, it makes a huge difference with the
Yeah.
productivity of your company and the profitability. Not that everything is about profit, but like, our goal is to help people. Every person should be helped. And we know we can make it better for you, but you need that focus to be able
Right.
to achieve that.
Now, that story you just told about 500 million to 6 billion, is that like the banner story that you're telling out into the world that, look, this is what we've done? Because if it's not, it should be.
Getting out of stealth mode, we're at conferences. We had a presentation at the technology conference for wealth management, T3, which has been a great conference for us, where we talked about being comfortable with being uncomfortable and continuously pushing yourself to grow. I think it's both as a business and as a personal mantra. Don't be comfortable. Don't be complacent, in the sense that you always want that drive because you can always be better. And then in terms of just chatting with them and like, how do we keep working with you? How do we keep helping you grow? What can we do? To give them a huge kudos is they treat us like a partner. The best thing you can do, and I'll just say this, advocating for Smartleaf and any tech company, is treat them like a partner.
Yep.
Because they're going to be willing to help you succeed, partially because, hey, you're paying us, which is nice, but you're there. You are living the problems every single day. If you tell us how to improve the platform, it's going to help everybody. And they've There are a couple other clients I could call out as well who have done that, above and beyond, but that level partnership has been phenomenal.
Awesome. So with that in mind, like, so when you are figuring out how to allocate time and resources and things like that, how much of your time is sort of divvied up between current book of clients, continuing that relationship, deepening that partnership, that kind of thing, versus splitting into more of a cold outreach or a cold strategy where you're trying to get new clients in? How do you juggle those two aspects?
Funnily enough, at the most recent conference, I did juggle while giving an elevator pitch. It's probably the most I've ever concentrated in my adult life. But it literally feels like that sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, the short answer is I don't know yet. This is part of not knowing what I don't know is where should my time be spent? Who are the people we should hire? How should we go about this? But I'd say in terms of Smartleaf as a company, there has been a really heavy emphasis on client services.
Of course, right?
As a small business, keep the clients that you have, make them really happy. It's one hand is worth two in the bush, I think is the
Yep.
phrase.
Yep.
Really, really important to keep those relationships. So I'd say we spend about a third to almost half of our time making sure our current clients are happy. And then when it comes to sales, there's a decent amount of cold outreach, but it's a lot of what are the lowest hanging fruits? Can we
Yep.
talk with former users? Whether that be they've moved to another firm, maybe it's a company that's broke off from us. Can we get back in touch with them? Are there certain integrations that are really easy and seamless? We have a couple partners that I've been working with over the last year and a half who've been phenomenal. They're great reference folks, and we see huge wins for both firms with that. And then recently it's been a campaign of, oh, there's this one specific pain point that we've seen across the last 3 years where that's why people choose us. And it's like email after email, or the light bulb goes on in the sales call. It's like, okay, finally we've got enough evidence here to say that this is a winning strategy.
Right.
Okay, how do I very precisely in a custom way tell each person who is in that situation, how do I find them? And then how do I tell them that I care about them and want to solve it?
Yeah.
Because I'm a sales guy. Like, you have reason to suspect me. And I
Right.
want to make you feel comfortable that I do have your best interests at heart.
And on the opposite end, the marketing guy, the guys like me, were like, okay, you give me a pain point, I could put you one to many all day long. It's like,
Yep.
how full do you want a calendar to talk to? We always reference in business sales and marketing, right? It's like
Yep.
sales and marketing. But most businesses, they run into problems because a lot of businesses that I have found when I talk to owners and things like that, the most common problem of or blocker to growth is somewhere in the sales and marketing aspect. Doesn't mean the sales process is broken. Doesn't mean the marketing process is broken. But usually it's something. It's crazy, but you almost see like sales doesn't know how to talk to marketing, and marketing doesn't know how to talk to sales. So they're almost at odds when they should be the most cohesive unit in the whole company, right? It's like
Absolutely.
marketing should be making sales job as easy as possible. Sales should be like regurgitating feedback to percolate and say, okay, hey, we haven't done this angle, or this angle yet. We haven't tried this pain point or this pain point yet. Rotate that into your marketing efforts and see if we can improve, right? It's like, I think we talked before this call where I'm a big marketing dork. I love data analysis. We crunch those numbers all day long for our clients and for my businesses. And it's like, where's the drop off point in the funnel, right? It's like, if this metric is off, I can fix this, but I got to figure out which point in the funnel is broken so I know which part to fix, whether that's a benefit statement or it's a pain point or it's overall strategy, or we're not getting the high touch points that we're looking for. Lead flow's coming in and it's on the calendar. So sales guys are busy, but they're talking to a bunch of unqualified people, right? That they want to invest in call options on Tesla versus a long-term
Yep.
strategy and growing it the way that you guys can really help. Right. So it is vital to have those conversations and figure out really how do you implement a cohesive strategy where you force feed that feedback loop between the two. Hey, marketing is going to try XYZ. It's going to give in these quality of leads. They're going to need that feedback back so that we know, are these quality leads? Are they going which way they want to go? Are you having those quality conversations? And then that's all on the acquisition side, like cold acquisition side, So it's you divvy it up between cold acquisitions, reactivations of people that have dropped off, and then you've got your current client book of clients, right? So it's you nail those three facets, and that 10% growth curve is going to be very small in comparison to where you could be.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll just make a quick joke at my own expense. You saw me nodding a lot My
Yeah.
team jokes that I have an aggressive head nod
That's
whenever
okay.
I
Have it.
really agree with someone.
There you go.
If anyone watching, if I'm
Yeah.
doing this, that's me agreeing emphatically without interrupting.
That's perfect. Honestly, I do the exact same thing. I'm Italian. Like I'm not doing this all day long, and the camera is like I feel like I'm winning if I'm not talking with my hands. So it's like, yeah, you'll see me do the same thing. I'm like, that's the right thing. So no problem at all. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate the conversation so far. Like I love what you guys are doing. I think the software that you offer clearly adds a clear benefit to the right wealth management firm, right? And I do believe you guys are coming at it from the right approach. It's a genuine, we want to help people grow. We care about people. And when I hear people lead with that, caring about people and not numbers, you'll make it through any hard times because you have people first. And, there's every automation sequence known to mankind that's out there now with AI and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, AI can augment and can help facilitate. And there are systems out there that can do a lot of the heavy lifting. But at the end of the day, it's still, especially with your business, right? It's still, I have to be on a phone or a video call or in person and convey that I'm a real genuine human that really cares about you and cares about your success as much as my own. And if you don't create a win-win environment, it's not going to work, right?
Absolutely.
It's not a $20 gadget that someone's trying to sell online, which I've done plenty of those. Like that was my bread and butter was before I got into the consulting end of things. I did 8 different e-commerce business that was all driven by sales through ads, and all 8 of them did over 7 to 8 figures within their first year. So like I'm really good at this stuff, but I miss the human connection. So my wife's like, you're really good at teaching, you're really good at coaching things, you're really good at this stuff. You should go do this, which is why I'm doing a podcast. Because I get to talk to really cool people like you, get to learn about a lot of really cool businesses, and hopefully make some impact and to help people that are watching our show. So I
No,
appreciate you spending the
absolutely.
time with us. One of my final questions for you would be is if we're sitting together, catching up in January of next year, and we reflect on this conversation we're having in March, and we're able to look back at the last 9 months, and what does the ultimate win for you look like between from now and we're looking back, 9 months from now?
Yeah, the ultimate win, and it goes more beyond just we hit our sales goals or even
Sure.
we crushed our sales goals. It's we feel confident that every client we brought in is going to get exactly the product that they were sold and that they're going to be long-term referenceable clients. And that's on the sales side of things. On the marketing side of things, we're seeing this phenomena of it's no longer Smartleaf, I've never heard of you. It's Smartleaf, I've heard of you. What do you do?
Nice.
And the key win would be you're the highly automated folks. You're the people that really care. You're the people who are really good for growth firms. Like that recognition of your niche of what you're really good at. That's what I'm striving for. So there will be times where I will talk with people that are absolutely not the right fit. But if they understand who we are and the alternative options, they can talk with their colleague. They can talk with a friend of theirs. And it's that awareness of who we are and what we do because that person might change companies. So the real success is make sure that people know who you are. It doesn't mean that they need to be the right fit, but they know who you are and what you're really good at.
Yeah, that brand recognition, right?
Exactly.
Especially in your industry, like mom and or Sam and John, Smith on Main Street, that they don't necessarily need to know who you are, but for
Exactly.
any business that's really got a specific niche to go after, which you should. For those of you watching, if you're figuring out how to come up with a business, you can't service everyone. Those that try to service everyone will end up serving no one. So I would absolutely, you need to be that I call it the it guy. You guys need to be the it player for software of wealth management, right? For what you do, you need to be known commonplace, just like everybody knows McDonald's or
Yep.
Coca-Cola. They've spent hundreds of billions of dollars in marketing to ingrain that in your heads. And for smaller businesses and niches, it's 100% possible, especially with organic channels that there are now, with the ability to really tailor your message. Those algorithms will pick up and only show it there, with the way that the ad targeting is out there. I don't know if you guys have ever done paid ads or not, but I mean, the targeting options for wealth management firms is clearly much easier than it was just even a decade ago. It's that doesn't take away from the necessity for the education piece, right? And the human touch piece. But that initial, I don't know who you are, to, oh, I know who you are, that problem, they may not even know they have the problem aware. So that really, that first step of that education of, this is what your life could look like. I like that life. How do I get that? Then it's like, okay, I'm aware of a problem now, right? And then now I get to learn about the solution. And then it's like, what is the correct solution? So there is that, definitely that education piece that ads can expedite. But it's a commitment, right? Like, ads are not appropriate for a lot of B2B businesses just because it's a different sales cycle. But it can definitely, I've never seen another higher leverage solution than ads.
Absolutely.
Like, if you
Yeah,
want
if
to
you
go
can do ads
parabolic,
right.
if you want to double your revenue, the best chance you have for most businesses is paid ads, for sure.
Absolutely. And that's something we're trying to get into, where we have hired someone to help us out with marketing. And I
Nice.
literally sent him 3 paragraphs of information and he highlighted maybe 2 sentences of it. And he said,
Uh-huh.
"This is the gold. Now I'm going to go around and advertise that." And I was like, cool. This shows that I'm a sales guy and not a marketing person.
Yeah, it's just a different skill set, you know? It absolutely is a different skill set. Being able to sell and give someone its trust on a one-to-one is a different skill set than doing messaging that garners and steals attention from ad platforms, right? Copywriting is not salesmanship, but you can leverage copywriting in sales. You can leverage NLP and sales tactics in copywriting, right? It's a very rare breed to find someone who's equally gifted in sales and marketing.
Absolutely. I'm not one of those people. And one of the best lessons of my life has been finding out what I'm not good at and then
Yeah.
finding the people who.
Yep. That was one of the hardest lessons, because when I first started growing my businesses, it was a control, like I didn't want to give up control. It was really hard for me to trust anybody else because I knew nobody else cared as much as I did, right? Because it's my thing. But even getting 80% out of someone, because then you don't have to do that, is well worth it, because now you've got more time to focus on what your superpower development. You should definitely go and find a sales guy or girl. Awesome.
Oh,
I really
absolutely.
appreciate the conversation, Robey. Thank you guys so much. Or when someone is watching this and they're a wealth management firm that would like to get in touch with you, how can they best do that?
Absolutely. So you can always email me, or NeJame. You can just see my name on the podcast here at smartleaf.com, or you can go onto our website. It's just smartleaf.com, and there should be a contact us form to submit there. If you think you're a great fit, absolutely, let's talk. If you don't think we're a great fit, I'm still happy to talk with you. If you don't even care about wealth management, you're like, hey, I want to talk to that Robey guy about what's in his background, please feel free to reach out to me. I think this shows I'm an extrovert, but really that's how our president imbued how our business runs. It's like, be willing to talk to anybody, be a good person. So
Yep.
please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to have a conversation.
Awesome. And I can verify that Robey is a good person, because he was willing to hop on our show and have a conversation with me. So again, Robey, thank you very much. Smartleaf sounds like a fantastic business. I wish you the best of luck of achieving your goals in 2025. For those of you out there watching, thanks so much for spending about a half hour, 45 minutes with us. And I'll catch you on the next episode of the Growthvisory. Thanks so much, guys.